Pre-shared key authentication. I'm sure you've all used pre-shared key authentication, also known as PSK authentication. In your home, when you go home and you connect on the Wi-Fi, you need to enter a password, right? That's what you're doing. You're entering a pre-shared key there to connect to the Wi-Fi, right? We've all been using it, but let's just see what it is all about. Okay, so in the Wi-Fi world, in 802.11 2007 standard, once again, that defines authentication and key management services as well, right? Authentication and key management services, also known as AKM. Okay, now AKM services require both authentication processes and generation and management of the encryption keys. Now what it does is, the AKM services basically, it does two things: authentication process, okay, and generation and management of keys. Generation and management of encryption keys. This is the function of AKM services, right? So an authentication and key management protocol, basically AKMP, authentication and key management protocol, can either be what? Can either be a pre-shared or an E protocol, right? Can either be pre-shared key or E protocol, right? Now .1x, basically, like also known as EAP, 802.1x or EAP authentication, right? It requires a radius server. I'm going to talk in a lot more detail about EAP in the coming chapter. This requires a radius server, right? And advanced skills to configure and support it, right? It does require a radius server and some advanced skills to configure and support it. Now the average home user like you and me will, with no Wi-Fi knowledge, cannot really configure or manage a radius server in their living room, right? So it's not possible for a home user to be able to configure and manage a radius server in their living room. That's not going to happen. So PSK authentication is meant for small office, home office environments, because the stronger .1x authentication solutions are not available to them. So that's the only thing available. Hence PSK is a slightly simpler to configure authentication and hence used in small office, home office, like home users, people who don't have knowledge about radius server and authentication. Therefore, security used in .1 like Soho environment is PSK authentication. We anyway discussed that also. WPA, WPA2 personal. Let me just write that down so that makes. So from the last few videos, WPA, WPA2 personal, right? Utilizes PSK authentication. So if you remember from the table that I drew a couple of videos back, WPA1 personal, WPA2 personal, they both require or they both utilize PSK authentication. Okay, so wherever there's a name of personal, WPA1 person or WPA2 person, you talk about pre-shared. That's what we're talking about, pre-shared key authentication. Anywhere personal is for personal use, like my home use. Remember it this way. It has to be PSK. It's simple in configuration. Always remember this. Now, WPA, WPA2 personal allows an end user to enter a simple ASCII character string. Okay, so in PSK, you enter a simple ASCII character string as the password, right? Which can be from 8 to 63 characters. Okay. Now this is what you're doing when you enter the password for pre-shared key in your home network also, it has to be from 8 to 63 characters. Now the thing is that for a PSK to be configured, anybody who wants to connect on the network, all the users should know the PSK, right? That's something which to get access to the SSID, all users should know the PSK to get access to the network or wireless LAN. Let's write it down. Yeah. Okay. The only practical difference now between WPA and WPA2 is about the encryption, not the authentication method. So the only practical difference is WPA and WPA2 is here you pretty much, so they both have PSK authentication. I'm talking about personal. Here TKIP and RC4, and here we have CCMP and AES encryption method. This is the only practical difference. Apart from that, they both use PSK authentication. Okay, we might be able to cover a bit more about PSK in a few other videos. I will let you know whenever I'm going to cover PSK authentication also in some other videos. We might run across those things also. Okay. Anyway, yeah, thank you. And the next video I'm going to talk about proprietary PSK authentication, which is a little different than PSK, standard legacy PSK. And I think, yeah, that's something which is important, so you all should know about it.